Okay, welcome to our live Q&A. My name's Ian Goode from Film and Television Studies in the College of Arts at the University of Glasgow. And what we're going to do this afternoon is introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about our programs and our background, and then take some reflections on the programs from our contributing students who we've got on our panel with us today, and then answer some of your own questions, which will hopefully come in via the chat. So I'm Ian Goode, and I'm the convener for the MLitt in Film and Television Studies. And this program is really designed to give our students an introduction to both the history of the discipline in terms of how film and television are studied, the methodologies, the histories, the practices which define those areas as academic subjects in their own right, and to equip our students with an understanding of the discipline with a view to being able to move on and take on independent research according to and shaped by their own interests, which are hopefully motivated by their time with us. And the other convener on the panel is Lizelle Bisschoff, who's responsible for the MSc in Film Curation.
Hi everyone. So thank you, Ian. So as Ian said, I convene the MSc in Film Curation. So the MSc in Film Curation is perhaps slightly more vocational than the MLitt, because it is a degree that's geared towards working as a curator in various areas of the screen and exhibition industries. So you'll be looking at exhibition of film in lots of different contexts. So thinking about things like formats, venues, audiences, marketing, and so on, how you put on a film in a public space. So that could entail working for film festivals, for cinemas, for film education establishments, in archives. So a whole range of various areas within the screen industries where we're showing films to the public. We have lots of exciting elements to the program. There's lots of guest speakers from the screen industries in Glasgow and around that you will meet on the program. We have placements as well, or a creative practice project that you can do, and a lot of hands-on experiences and hands-on opportunities to sort of hone your skill in selecting and offering films to the public, and also the kind of theoretical and critical thinking around that work as well. I'm going to hand over then to the third convener, my colleague Azadeh Emadi, who is the convener for the MSc in Filmmaking and Media Arts. Thanks, Azadeh.
Thank you very much, Lizelle. Hello, everyone. So as Lizelle already introduced me, I'm the convener of MSc in Filmmaking and Media Arts here at the University of Glasgow. So a brief overview about our program. The program really focuses on low-budget experimental filmmaking. Its attention is on using practice as a form of research and investigation. Students often come from various background in film or artistic background, and the whole year is really focusing on a project that you will bring to the program. You have an opportunity to work with us very closely and really explore and experiment both theoretical concept and context in relation to your filmmaking, but also various technical skills that you bring with yourself to the program. So it is basically it's a 1 year full program, and you will be working on your own individual film in this 1 year. The students have to take 2 major core courses that focuses on practice, and we often work in various small groups in the class, basically tutorial more than groups. I think that's all I can say for now, but I look forward to your questions. I pass it on to my colleague Ian.
Okay, thank you, Lizelle. Thank you, Azadeh. And now to our student panelists. Sasha, who's a member of the MLitt and Film and TV, and grateful for her joining us today.
Hi, I'm Sasha. I, like Ian said, I am a part of the MLitt Film and Television Studies. I got my undergraduate degrees in theater arts and political science, and then I came here to Glasgow from Los Angeles, and I have really enjoyed the program and everything that it had to offer and still is offering.
Thank you, Sasha. And our other student from MLitt in Film and Television Studies, Yilin, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yiling. I'm glad to have this meeting and share my experiences with you guys. And I study in film and television study. Yeah.
Thank you. And Chian from the MSc Film Curation.
Hi all, I'm Kian. I'm doing the MSc in Film Curation, and yeah, I'm doing this master's not coming off the back of. I finished a undergraduate degree 3 years ago in something completely different in history and politics. So I'm coming to this course not really doing much about film academically, but as Lizelle said earlier, this is more of a vocational course, so it was somewhat of an easier fit in for me, but I've really enjoyed my time up in Glasgow so far studying film curation.
Thank you. And Matthew from MSc Filmmaking and Media Arts.
Hi all, I'm Matthew. I'm from Grangemouth in Scotland, and yeah, I'm doing MSc Filmmaking and Media Arts, and have really enjoyed the course that's been ran by Azadeh and also our other lecturer, Kirsten, and it's been really enjoyable, and it's still going, still enjoyable.
Thanks very much, Matthew. Now, what I'd like to do now is to get a little bit more detail on the students' experiences of the courses that they've taken with us, so that you have a greater idea of what they've achieved, what they've enjoyed about the course, and why they chose it, which will hopefully feed your own inquiries, which you can feed into us via the chat. So I'll start with Sasha again. Sasha, could you give us an idea of why you chose the program and what drew you to the MLitt in particular?
Yeah. So when I started looking for degree programs, I wasn't particularly sure where I wanted to go, if I wanted to go into filmmaking or film curation or film and television studies. But at the end of the day, I was really enticed by the film and television studies at Glasgow University. Was the only program that I could find in my research that focused just as much on television as it did on film, and I'm particularly interested in television. So that was very enticing, as well as the reputable academic journal Screen is run out of University of Glasgow and is incredibly important to the academic field of film and television studies, and to be able to work with people who were direct contributors or just really prominent people in the field was incredibly exciting opportunity.
Thank you very much, Sasha. So you weren't considering any other courses, is that right?
I wasn't considering any other of the courses at University of Glasgow. No, just this one.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. And same question to Yilin.
Hi everyone. My name is Yiling, and I really like the sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I was study the performance, and I really want to study more about the film and television study. I really enjoy the university life, and I really like the courses. Is about the advanced topic in film and advanced topic in television, and our course is about understanding television and film, how this works, its history, and how to analyze critically. We learn about the different genres, audiences reaction, and show the television and film has changed over time. And the course is all consider the international student. We have the topic of the Beijing Opera, the Chinese reality show, and the India musical festival, the film, etc. This will helps us to combine and establish our thinking in a more comprehensive way to compare film and television of the same genre between different countries. This is a very interesting course. Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you, Yilin. Same question to Kian, please.
Yeah, I think I want to direct this question to, or just the answer to a question that's coming from the chat about what opportunities the course is given. I think this really correlates to how it correlates to what made me want to choose Glasgow, and that was due to the practical elements within the course. And I was back in January 2024. I was looking at film curation courses, and the two ones that came up was Glasgow and Edinburgh. And I looked at Edinburgh, and there was no practical elements within the course. So I then looked at Glasgow, and I saw that there was a major element, which was either a work placement or creative practice, as Lizelle said earlier. And by doing that, since doing that work placement, which I finished back in April, and I did with the Glasgow Media Access Centre, or GMAC, I found it incredibly worthwhile, and I received a lot of practical education through that, and that was a major reason why I undertook the course at Glasgow. And it was a very fruitful decision for me.
Thank you very much, Kian. And same question to Matthew, please.
So I decided to do the course because I previously studied digital media, and then went on from there to do work in marketing for a while. I've always loved filmmaking though, and picked up odd jobs in the film industry, but never quite felt satisfied. And I always kind of wanted to make my own things and try and find ways to express myself through filmmaking. So I had been recommended by a friend to come onto the course, and he had said that he thinks it would do me the world of good and really help me focus and sort of find my sort of path as a filmmaker. And he's been right, and it's been a really great experience. And I've always wanted to study film personally, or filmmaking in any form, but just with the grades that I got out of high school, I never got the chance to study film properly. So it's been a really dream come true to do it now. And yeah, at Glasgow, it's been brilliant. It's a great city.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Now, I'd like to build on that, if I can, by asking the panelists what particular modules they've taken as part of their courses, or what the key areas of their learning have been, and what they would highlight as being particularly memorable from their study experience. And I'll start with you, Sasha. Again, please.
Yeah, so we, in the Film and Television Studies course, there are 4 core modules, which are advanced topics in film, advanced topics in television, like Yilin was saying before, as well as history of film and television studies, and a dissertation course, a dissertation preparation course. And then we are also have to take an option course. So with those courses, I was really impressed with the advanced topics, both advanced topics courses in film and television studies. They were incredibly helpful. I think someone was asking in the chat for people who don't have a lot of academic experience. Those courses really work to give time to advance ideas in the field, but also to put in the work for the basics in case people haven't studied film studies before. I didn't have a degree in film studies coming into the course, and while I have studied film studies a little bit here and there, I didn't have the full degree in it. So it was very easy to just immerse yourself in and be a part of. From the history of film and television studies course, we did lots and lots of we focused on different topics. We had Lizelle come in as a guest speaker one week and teach us all manner of different things over that course of the class. One of my personal favorite topics was learning about the audiovisual essay and how practice and experimental video and audiovisual essay writing and creating has become a big part of the academic field. And then for my option course, I took a course with Ian and Matthew. Actually, we took the oh my gosh, what's it called? Time.
Making Time. It's a history of art course.
Yeah, we took a course called Making Time, which was an art history course. And that was really, it had its ups and downs, but it was really great at the end of the day because I got to create a video essay of my own out of that class, and some work that I'm extremely, extremely proud of. And it fostered a lot of creativity.
Excellent. Thank you, Sasha. Very interesting. And although, Yilin, you've started to answer that question in your last answer, is there anything you want to add regarding your highlights and the modules you've taken?
Yeah, I really like this course because this will we also engage the different types of reality show, the documentary and the children program and animated films. And I really like the seminar part because we can share our thinking, and it helps me to find the more perspective in the different topic. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Yilin. And over to Kian now, please. Highlights, memories, modules taken.
Yeah, so with the MSc in film curation, there are 3 core modules, them being materials of film curation, practices of film curation, and as I said earlier, a work placement or a creative practice. Starting with the first one, you take materials of film curation in the first semester, which is taught by Lizelle, and within that we learn about just learning about what is curation, not just within a film context, but also within an artistic context as well. Looking at how curation could be understood, whether that's in like whether that like in the film context, that would be something like digital film, analog film, looking at sound, looking at film written criticism, etc. So you really study like the granularities of what is film curation, and then within the second semester you build on that knowledge that we had from that first module materials into practice of film curation, which is taught by Justine Atkinson. And we within that we're taught how, as a curator, how to put on a either a festival or a screening, and kind of going through step by step what different components you would have to consider to put on something, to put on a screening. So whether that be the finances, whether that be accessibility, marketing, and a plethora of other things as well. And I think those two core courses go really hand in hand, as it takes you step by step in how to into the world of film curation. I found it incredibly interesting, and I really enjoyed those two core courses as I think, and it was really well taught by both Lizelle and Justine. And as I mentioned earlier in my other answer, with the work placement or the creative practice, you choose either one or the other, and you decide that within the first semester. There's a selection of placements that are offered. I think there are about 9 or 10 that were offered, but because there's a large class, it will depend really on the class size for next year, on how many placements are offered. But everyone who wanted a placement, I think, got a placement. And I won't repeat my last answer, but about the placement. But I really enjoyed my experience with GMAC in that sense. And to keep it somewhat academic, you have to write a 4,000 word reflection on your placement or on your creative practice. Speak a little bit about the creative practice as well. I know that people in our class who chose that found that an incredibly enriching experience. I know that one member of our class put on a very successful season of 2 events at the Centre of Contemporary Arts in the centre of Glasgow, and it was it was called Horror Minus Horror, and it was looking at films that aren't considered to be horror films, but have horror elements. So the 2 films that they chose were The Humans and 45 Years, and it was incredibly successful, I thought, for both of them, and because the CCA had just recently opened, it was a nice way to actually relaunch their opening with my course mates event. So yeah, and those are the 3 core modules, and there are 2 and within the course you can pick, you have to choose 2 additional modules, and as Sasha was saying earlier, there was 3 of us, including Matthew, who picked a course that was outside of the school in making time. But I also chose to take advanced topics in film, which was one of Sasha's core and Yelin's core modules from the first semester, which I also found incredibly interesting as well. As someone who never took film studies as an undergraduate, I thought it was going to be a lot more intimidating, but I felt that I got it quite quickly, and everyone in that class was incredibly lovely and supportive of those who from a diverse academic backgrounds. So yeah, I both really enjoyed both my core modules and the additional modules that I took as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kian. I would just add that Kian's description of his experience of other courses that are outside his sort of his own educational background. We do try and encourage students to consider looking at courses or optional courses from other areas of the college and the school where there's availability, as well as the optional courses that are offered as part of your sort of main program, as it were. So that is, we try and make use of the versatility in the College of Arts as well. Same question to you, Matthew, please. Your highlights, your experiences, and why you chose the program.
Yeah, so for the Filmmaking and Media Arts MSc, the modules are the basic workshop ones. That's the core ones that go through the whole thing, where you are essentially working on your film over the course of the year. And then you also have, oh man, the name of it's just totally slipped my mind. What was the one with Sarah Neely Azadeh?
Experimental art.
Thank you. Experimental media. It was a really great module, despite the fact that I can't remember the name of it. It was a really great module. That
Yeah,
was probably
it's a theory, mostly theory focused. Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to the rest of the course, which is mostly practical. It's a theory-based module, which I really loved, and we got to look at not only just experimental films, but the idea of different media art and installation pieces, video art, and all that entails, and was a really versatile module. And I've also been fortunate enough to be able to audit a few courses as well. So I was able to audit advanced topics with Sasha and Kian as well for a little bit, which was really fascinating, touching on eco-cinema and lots of other theoretical aspects. But yeah, I've really loved just getting the chance to constantly reinvent and experiment. I noticed that there's a question from Emo Cowan. I can't speak to the application part of the question. I would leave that to Azadeh. But with the will our main projects have this space to change during the course, I would sort of, to tie this in, is that for the workshops, practically, you do come with like a set idea, but it does evolve. Like, it is what I came in thinking I was going to do is not exactly what it is. It's sort of the germ of the idea is the same, but the approach is gradually changed after being exposed to a lot of different other types of media, and through Azadeh and Kirsten's lectures, I've been introduced to so many different other filmmakers, like James Benning or countless others, Nina Menkes. And through all that, that's kind of really informed my original idea. And it's just been a great process to slowly develop and evolve, basically. I hope that answers part of that question, and also Ian's question.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. If there are any questions arising from anything the students have spoken about so far, then do ask away in the chat. But I'm going to move to some of the questions that have been submitted so far, and the first one is a very open one, I think, and this is from Julia, and it's directed to all of the students, and she asks, what opportunities have the courses given you that you couldn't have achieved without it? That is the course. So a nice open question. I'll start with you again, Sasha, if you could, please.
Yeah, like I said before, the course has given us some great opportunities to just delve really deeply into film studies, the history of film studies, and specific topics where we can um, go into the theoretical in a really collaborative and interesting way. Our seminars that would follow each lecture, where we're able to discuss with the entire class, always brings new new ideas and ways of thinking about things to the forefront. So I've definitely learned a lot from that experience. Also, I I've written, because of this course, I've written papers that I never thought I would write. I've made video essays and projects that I just have never would have considered before in the past and in other courses that I've taken. So that was just a really great opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yilin?
I think give me more passion to face the different topic in the industry, because I never tried some topics before. I think it's very interesting, and some topic helps me to deeply understand about the different types of television or films, like the reality TV show from the different country, such as the child programs, etc. So I think it let me deeply understand each topic and help me to explore myself to such as we read the essay, and it helps me more understand about that topic.
Thank you very much. Same question, please, to Kian again. Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't want to, I spoke a little bit about this earlier, so I'll add something else. What I really think is quite pivotal is that just the film industry is like, well, and the exhibition industry is incredibly hard to break into, and it's a lot, and I'm learning more and more about it since starting this course, and so on that side, the education side that Lizelle and Justine have offered by doing the core courses has been exceptional, and has allowed me to like think thoroughly about this and moving forward. So I'm incredibly indebted to them. But as well, what they have offered is by bringing in guest speakers, it has allowed us to build contacts and somewhat of a network with the film, with the exhibition, film exhibition community within Glasgow and wider. It has allowed, and by building that network and by having those contacts, it's provided incredibly enriching stepping stone and assistance in trying to move from where we are in the course at the moment to going off into the wider, as I said, wider screen and exhibition industry in itself. And I think this course has been incredibly helpful, and it is quite pivotal for a lot of us, especially who are doing the course at the moment, to have had that help from Justine and Lizelle to try and like get a ground footing within the industry moving forward.
Okay, thank you very much. And Matthew?
I think the course has offered a lot of interesting opportunities, and sort of jumping off the back of what Kian had mentioned. We've had a lot of really amazing guest speakers come in. We just had Theo Panagopoulos come in a few months ago, who was really amazing. His film, The Flowers Stand Silently Witnessing, just played at Sundance not too long ago and won the top prize for the short film prize, which was really amazing. And we got access to see the film, which it's a film that you can only really see at festivals. So it was really great. And to get one-on-one time with him was a really brilliant experience to have. And yeah, you just meet so many different filmmakers that really want to give you their time and their energy, and want you to succeed. And we've had Callum Rice come in, who's also been to Sundance with a few of his films as well. And he's been a phenomenal help for everyone in the course, especially myself. And everyone just really wants you to win. Everyone wants you to do well. And I think it's just a fantastic opportunity to try and explore yourself as a filmmaker. And you get all these opportunities to meet so many different people from so many different perspectives. It's just a really worthwhile experience.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. The next question is from Fatma, and it's related specifically to the MSc Film Curation, Lizelle. So could you take that one, please?
Yeah, so this is the question about asking that the MSc being a one-year program, the person wanted to know if the program is only focused on studying the curriculum or any field work, and also referencing the film festivals in Glasgow. So Kian already spoke to that question to some extent when he was talking about the work placement. So we do indeed, although obviously you have a set curriculum, especially with the core courses, the two first and second semester core courses, but you do have the placement, which is a compulsory module for the second semester. As Kian explained, we try to kind of negotiate and secure the number of placements according to the number of students. We work with indeed with film festivals like the Glasgow Short Film Festival. We have at times worked with Glasgow International, Glasgow Film Festival as well. Kian did his placement at GMAC, as he said. The Scottish Mental Health Arts and Film Festival is another placement provider. Then we also work with a couple of distribution companies, so Conic and Park Circus offer placements as well. The Hip Fest, there's a silent film festival in Bowness, is another placement provider. So we've got a range of placements, many of them film festivals, indeed, film festivals that take place around in Glasgow and more further afield. So we very much link up with the kind of film exhibition community and landscape in Glasgow as part of the program. We're not just focused on studying the curriculum. And apart from the more formal placements, we do often throughout the year, we'll get requests for volunteering opportunities to be advertised to staff or other internships to students, and other internships and so on, that or opportunities for students to be available to become part of working as a volunteer in a film festival or make themselves available for some or other role within the industry. So I think this is actually one of the advantages. I think this was also said by some of the student panelists, that to study film in Glasgow, and especially film curation in Glasgow, with such a wealth of bigger and smaller film festivals, cinemas, independent and mainstream cinemas, and a very lively film culture, but also arts culture more broadly, is certainly very beneficial to the programs that we're offering. And we do make every effort to encourage students to become part of that sort of vibrant arts world that Scotland has on offer.
Can I just add to that, from what Lizelle said? and about the external opportunities. So me and another course mate, who I didn't know was also going to do this, both volunteered for the Glasgow Short Film Festival. It's about a couple of months back, and we did that off our own backs. This was, I think there might have been an email from either Lizelle or Justine to say that this was a volunteering opportunity, but it wasn't compulsory. And that was a really interesting experience as well, to volunteer like for a film festival that was happening within Glasgow, and that was an enriching experience as well. And we also got a cool T-shirt, so that was a big win-win.
Thank you very much, Kian and Lizelle. Excellent. Now the next question is from Fatma, whose study background is in law, yet she's also worked as a line producer for a feature film. You're asking about the difficulties for someone with that production experience, but not actual academic experience of our subject area. Now, I'm assuming that, Fatma, you're asking about the MLitt in film and TV, but in case you're also inquiring about the MSc Film Curation or the MSc Filmmaking and Media Arts, I'll hand this over quickly also to Lizelle and Azadeh. But from the MLitt film and TV point of view, we wouldn't necessarily turn your application down, and we do take people on who don't have an absolute synchronous background with the study of film and television. We do aim to bring everyone up to the same level. But I would say it does help if you've got some experience of a course, a program, a degree in an area which is a bit more directly related. So in media and cultural studies, communication studies, or in general an arts discipline, because you will be asked to write in some detail about things you see, things you watch, in terms of film and television, and writing about what you watch rather than answering practical questions on how to produce a film is a significant challenge in itself. Not impossible, but my advice would be to try and get some experience in taking on that kind of exercise, either through some form of correspondence course or online course, just to give yourself some exposure to the kind of questions and the kind of study skills that you'll need to take this kind of course on. So I hope that's not put you off, but we would consider your application with some caveats. Is there anything you can add to that, Lizelle and Azadeh?
I think I totally agree with you, Ian. We do cast the net fairly wide in terms of applications for the MSc Film Curation, in terms of allowing students from related backgrounds, the arts degrees, as Ian said, things like literature, history of art, even politics. We've accepted students because I guess because film curation is not a subject that's normally taught on undergraduate level. So so we don't usually have students that come from exactly that background. Students come from sort of related background, especially in the arts. I do think that if you've got a degree, an academic background, that some of the skills obviously would be transferable in terms of academic writing, and then practical experience in the film industry, for example, as Fatma wrote, with experience in being a line producer for a feature film, would obviously give some insights, like practical insights into how the film industry work. And I think that combined with academic writing, research and reading skills would provide a sort of good basis for a student. But I agree with Ian as well. I think if you have no film studies background, it will be a bit of a steep learning curve, especially with the more academic subjects, and all of the programs have more academic courses. So I would recommend that students who are trying to get into one of these degrees from a bit more of a different background to try and sort of educate yourself. One thing that I, for example, do for the film from curation incoming students is I send a small reading list to them over the summer that I can already start familiarizing themselves with some of the things that we'll be discussing. So I think sort of reading, more broadly, maybe as Ian suggested, doing a course or something, but would definitely be beneficial. I think it's not unheard of, but I think, and it also has, it has happened to a limited extent in the past, that students coming from completely different backgrounds do succeed on the course, but I think the learning curve would be a bit steeper for them. Azadeh.
Yeah, I totally agree with both Lizelle and Ian. All I can say for a filmmaking and media art program, perhaps you will have a little less challenge if your academic background, if you have more of a practical skill and practice background than academic background. However, in saying that, we do combine theory with practice. So actually your ability in order to be able to cross between practical elements and theoretical element and skills are quite important. However, in saying that, very few people might join the program having both of these skills. So the program really aims to bring a student to the level where they are able to cross between both academic as well as practical skills. For us, we also don't disregard application just based on that. As Lizelle mentioned, your qualification, your background in law is already an academic experience. And so you also do have some practical experience. For the program, it is important for applicant to have good amount of work experience in industry if they are applying without relevant qualification. But again, it's different from case to case. I would encourage those who are interested to apply. And then based on the portfolio for MSc filmmaking and based on their portfolio as well as their application, then yeah, we will just review them based on that specific case. I think Sasha wanted to mention something. She raised her hand earlier on. I don't know if she still wanted to, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on a little something. I came into the program with lots of practical experience from my time in the Hollywood film industry, and with not as much academic film experience. I had academic experience in political science and in theater arts and a little bit in film studies, but not an excessive amount. And the learning curve was definitely there, but it was very manageable. And there were a lot of other people who came into the film and television studies program, at least, who were not from film studies backgrounds. So in case that's helpful.
Okay, thank you, Sasha. And I would add, Sasha's doing very well on our course as well, and we're very glad to have her. So I hope that's something of a good answer for you, Fatma. And do come back to us if you need any more help. The next question from Lewis, who's looking for an academic career in film studies and is asking how academic the course is. Well, as I think Lizelle said, the MLitt in film and TV is more academic and less vocational than the two MSc courses. So it is right in that it prepares you for a career in teaching and lecturing, is that if that is what you're aiming for. And certainly the next stage from after the MLitt is to undertake a PhD. And so if you were to do well on the MLitt and wanted to carry on and wanted to explore a career in film and TV studies, then this is the right course for you, and a sort of pathway to PhD study as well. And we can advise you in more detail on that were you to come and study with us. We would advise you more when you're here. Okay. Emo, question for the Filmmaking and Media Arts MSc. Azadeh, what are you looking for in our applications? Will our main projects have the space to change during the course?
Yeah, Matthew already mentioned about the second part of the question. Yes, definitely. Really, that application has two main purposes. The first thing is for us to understand, to know that you understand the ethos of the program, which is experimental filmmaking and low budget filmmaking. And it does focus on using filmmaking as a way of critical reflection and critical engagement with your own work and wider field. So, for example, if someone puts in their application that they are aiming to, or they are hoping to build a feature fiction film, well, that's really not a project that we could support in this program. So it's basically for us to get a better sense of your thinking, what you would like to achieve, but also it is your opportunity to think about your ideas and come to the program with some idea from a starting point. So you don't come completely fresh, but you come with some material, with some thoughts, and then we can start working with you from there. Because remember, in this program, you're making your own individual film. So it is basically great if you have that opportunity to develop some ideas, and then we have a better chance of helping you throughout the program. Hopefully that answered your question, Imo.
Thanks, Azadeh.
Oh, actually, there is another question coming straight after that. Imo is asking how many hours a week outside of independent study is the Filmmaking and Media Arts MSc. You're taking number of courses in this program. Usually for your core course, each semester you will be spending 4-6 hours in the class, but then you have another major course, experimental media, or perhaps roughly 2 hours for that. You will have another optional course, again 2 hours for that, but then it's different from semester to semester. But you are here as a full-time student, so not all of this will be your contact hours, but obviously some semesters can be more intense. Sometimes the first semester is heavier than the second semester, sometimes the other way around. I don't know if Matthew perhaps wants to add anything in terms of the hours, or but yeah.
Yeah, it's really up to yourself, and also just how the optional modules are structured. There's someone, my good pal Emma, who is on the course, structured it so that all of their optional modules were in the first semester. So they did like a lot of work in the first semester, so that in the second semester they could be a lot more free. It is kind of just up to how you structure it, but it's also what is available as well.
Yes, keeping in mind that every semester you have the core practical workshop module, which you have to take. And that's your biggest module each semester.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, specifically about film curation, Lizelle. On placements, is it the norm that everyone gets one?
So this is slightly tricky, because I can't say, and I don't want to say that you're guaranteed a placement, because you're not. But we do try to, as far as possible, accommodate all students. In the 5 to 6 years that I've convened the program, I think it's been very few cases that the student didn't get on a placement. What would happen if you don't get on a placement is that you would then shift to doing creative practice project, which is your own project that you design and execute. But we more or less we managed to get all the students onto placements. There is a bit of a process of negotiation involved in that. Sometimes students have a preference for something they really want to do, or one placement could be or a couple of placements could be very popular and others less popular, or students might be dithering between doing a placement and a creative practice project. So we might be talking to students to try and help them to make up their mind, and also to more or less through a process of talking to students and negotiating, make sure that everybody ends up at a place where they're happy, even if it's not your first choice of placement. Maybe you get your second or your third choice, but you know that you would be able to do a placement if you want to. We also, Justine and I also, you know, encourage students to consider the creative practice as a viable option as well. Students, over the years, we have found that students tend to prefer the placements. I think students have an idea that this would be really valuable industry experience, networking, you know, sort of building contacts in the industry. But I guess as both Justine and I come from sort of more entrepreneurial backgrounds with founding and running film festivals, and Justine runs an app that she's created. So we really encourage students to think from that entrepreneurial point of view as well, and to not disregard the creative practice project, where you really get to create your own idea. You've got no curatorial limits really in terms of what you can do. You get a small budget as well that we make available from the department. So I think that, you know, within those two options, within the placements that we have available, and through a process of talking to students and so on, I think everybody ends up at a place that they're happy to be with that module. So even though I don't want to say I can guarantee a placement, because I don't want to say this now and then if it doesn't turn out like that in the future, then you know, it might create a disappointment. I think that I can say that most students end up being very happy where they are. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay, thanks, Lizelle. A couple of questions quite specific about filmmaking and media arts as a day. Is the course more geared towards creating films for galleries or for theatrical release, or is it up to the student? And are students well prepared to find filmmaking opportunities after completing the programme?
In regard to the question in terms of the type of work, it very much depends on the students. That's why that application and initial proposal is important. We had students whose project was exhibited in gallery spaces, as well as students whose work being screened in film festivals and won awards. The main thing that I would say is that because the nature of the program, which is experimentation and constant reflection of what you're doing, the focus is for you as a creative person and filmmaker to find your creative voice and be able to present it in a best possible way. So as I said, it really depends on the students and their project. In terms of the second question, so as we all know, film industry is a very difficult industry to get into it. Our students often get to various areas related to film and media industry, including as film editors, as marketing and social media, media producers, in the areas of artist moving image and galleries, to the teaching and education, or even continuing to practice-based PhDs. The focus of the program is to give students transferable skills where they can apply to various relevant fields, if not necessary film industry. So that's all I can say.
Okay, thank you, Azadeh. I've had a couple of questions which about scholarships, and another one about the option courses for the MLitt. Certainly the option courses, usually they consist of experimental art and media, festivals, and making time. And there's more detailed information about those on the website, and I'll put links into the chat. Similarly, international scholarships, the website's very useful for that, where you can just put in specific parameters to get the information you require. And I'll put the link for for that availability in the chat as well. Just quickly finishing off, MSc Film Curation. How much accommodation is made for global cinema, Lizelle?
So the applicant is then also mentioning specifically African cinema, and then saying that they're aware that I specialize in African cinema, so there is naturally some focus and reference to African cinema in the course. Justine, who runs the second semester course, also comes from a very broad cinema background, and we have work together on the African Motion Film Festival, and Justine also runs a distribution company that specializes in Black and African cinema. So naturally, that feeds into our teaching a lot, and we are because the approach that we take, and also given our personal backgrounds working within the African film industries, we do have an awareness of including, as broad an overview of films. We do try with the screenings. There are screenings, connected to both the core courses to include a range of cinema from all over the world. And because of our backgrounds, we are very aware of not sort of perpetuating Eurocentric canons and just, continuing showing, sort of Euro-American films. So I would say that it's, the course really caters for quite a broad global view on film.
Thank you very much, Lizelle. I think that's everything. I think we've answered all the questions. I'll put the links into the chat that I promised. Thanks to everyone for your contributions on the panel and for your questions in the chat. There's lots of links provided in the chat for more information on the specific courses, student experience, living and studying in Glasgow. And certainly I would add that as the answers to the questions from the panel have indicated, living and studying in Glasgow is a considerable benefit to you, to your studies and the opportunities arising from your study, and for life as a student as well. And Glasgow is an asset to what we do, certainly, and our courses are I think designed to make the most of that synergy. So there's more information in the chat. There's contact details available for the conveners on each of the programs. And if you have further questions that haven't been covered sufficiently in this session, then do get back to us. And yes, the session is being recorded and will be available soon after this session closes. So thank you very much, everyone.